Hello students, I am Sonali Bose and today we'll start with our physics session. We'll have the chapter measurement and motion. Today we'll start with measurement. So in measurements, the topics that we'll cover today are story of transport, or we can say history of transport, then measurement, what is measurement, then we'll understand why do we need measurement, what is the importance of measurement, then non-standard units of measurement and standard units of measurement. So let's start. We'll start with story of transport. So how it all started, how the transport system, or what is transport? That is, we need to travel from one place to another. So we need transport for that. So it all started with walking. That is, we first realized that human beings first traveled from one place to another by walking. And soon they realized that they can use animals to travel from one place to another. And in fact, their goods can also be carried on the back of the animals to travel from one place to another. Initially, the animals that were used were camels, bullock carts, horses, elephants were used to carry people from one place to another. So this was all for roadways. Now we'll see how, but there arises a question that how to travel or how to cross a river, how to travel across a river. This was a problem for the early human beings that time. So soon they realized that they can use a log of wood. Now a log of wood should be hollow so that it can float on water. So initially they used a log of wood, and on that log of wood, see, this is the log of wood which they used initially to travel in water. And in this log of wood, approximately 2 to 3 people could sit and they could row and cross the river. But what if they have to carry some goods, or if more and more people have to cross the river, then what can they do? What they did was they used these logs of wood, and they used many logs of wood or bamboos. Many bamboo sticks were also used, and these all were tied with the help of threads. And they got somewhat like this, a boat. They used to make a boat with bamboo sticks or with logs of wood that were tied. And these were used for sailing or to travel from in the river, from across the rivers, or to carry their goods as well. Now, but soon they realized that boats shaped like this. Now, what is this shape called? This shape is called streamlined shape. Streamline shape. Soon they realized that with this shape, if the boat was shaped into a streamline, then it was easier for them to row across the river, because it was apart from being easy to row in a river, it increased the it was very fast for them to move across the river. That is, they could travel across the river faster and in an easier and convenient manner. So this streamline shape was found from, or was mimicked from, nature. Now you may ask me, what is the meaning of mimic? So mimicked from nature. That is, mimicked from birds and fishes. Mimicked means copying. Mimicked means copying. That is, it was copied from nature. That is, birds and fishes. Next, so our problem of traveling across the river was solved. Then came a revolution in the field of transportation, and that was invention of wheel. Invention of wheel. Now earlier human beings used to drag, or they used to lift the load, or they used to slide it to take it from one place to another. But it is a very tedious job, and it is very difficult to travel such heavy blocks or heavy loads by lifting them up. Soon they realized that it was very easy to roll them, or rolling was comparatively easier and required very less effort than sliding. So what they did initially was, suppose this is the load which they have to carry. This is the load. They used to keep logs of wood, and they used to make this box or make this load roll over these logs. And with the help of this, they used to carry this load from one place to another. After this, soon they realized, or they started using wooden discs. These wooden discs were being used. Initially the wooden discs were like this. Soon they made it in the form of wheel, and now we see it in the form of tires or in bikes and cars. So we can see that how the evolution of wheel took place, and it has revolutionized our means of transport in roadways. We could travel across the roads in a better manner. Also, it required very less amount of effort, and it was comparatively cheaper means of transport. But after this, they realized that it is not, suppose 10 or 12 people were being transported or were able to move from one place to another. Soon they realized that they need more and more amount of people and goods to be traveled from one place to another. So this led to the invention of steam engine. Invention of steam engine. Invention of steam engine. Now, as steam engine was initially used, initially it had 2 to 3 carriages which could carry passengers in them or goods. But as it progressed, these steam engines were made more and more powerful. Now, as they were made more and more powerful, more and more people were able to go from one place to another, and also goods were being transported from one place to another. Next, after this steam engine was introduced, it was easier to travel in roads or travel through roadways with the help of wheels, and the carriages could carry more and more amount of passengers. But it solved the problem only through roadways. What if a person has to go from one place to another, or across from one country to another country, and he has to travel both road as well as water, and trains cannot travel on water, right? So they thought that they can only travel through air if they have to cover both land and water. So this led to the invention of airways, or invention of aircrafts. Finally, aircrafts were being introduced, or they used aeroplanes, which we know modern day aeroplanes. If you have to travel to any other country, you need to cross land as well as oceans, and to cross both you need to travel through air, and the easiest way to travel in a fast manner is to take a flight. Next, so we have completed about our story or history of transport or story of transport. Now we'll understand the term measurement. Now, to understand the term measurement, first I'm giving you one activity. Okay. Suppose this is a table. Now I ask you to calculate its length, the length of the table, by not using any ruler or measuring tape. So how would you calculate the length of this table? Many children would use their hands, like they will use their hands, and they will keep the tip of the thumb on one side of the table, then they will keep the small finger on the next, and like this they will measure. They will keep on measuring. Like it is, for me it is 2 handspan. So what is a handspan now? Handspan is the distance between the tip of your thumb to the tip of your small finger. and the hand should be outstretched. So this much distance is called hand span. And as you can see, for me it is two hand spans. But for different children it will be different. So for some kids maybe it will be 3 hand span. For some maybe it will be 4. So this tells us that this does not give us an accurate measurement of the table. So we need to have some accuracy in measurement so that it will be equal for all. The measurement of this table should be equal for all. So now with this hand span it cannot be done. Then some children thought that we can bring stones. So they brought some stones and they kept the stones one after the other, and they told me that ma'am, it is almost 10 to 12 stones. For some it was 10, for some it was 12, for some it was 14. Those who brought small stones, for them it was 20. So they told that it is this much stone, that the length of the table was 10 to 12 stones. But again, this is not a precise or accurate type of measurement. So then some children came up with the idea that we can stand on the table and using our foot, we can keep our foot one after the other and then we can measure the table. Again, foot cannot be same, the size of the foot is not same for everyone. So for some girls it was 4 feet, 4 foot, for some it was 1 foot, like that it was different for different people. So what is measurement? We'll write the definition. Measurement is the process of finding the length, size, or quantity of a substance. So measurement is the process of finding the length, size, quantity of a substance. If we want to, now why do we need measurement? Measurement is very important in our day-to-day life. Suppose you might have seen that when you go to buy vegetables in a market, then you may ask the shopkeeper to give you 1 kg of potatoes or 1 kg of tomatoes. Now, so for that you need measurement, right? Because you need to pay a money that is equal to the amount you have taken, right? So measurement is very much important. Also you might have seen that sometimes your mothers, when they go to a shop to buy a piece of cloth, they usually say to the shopkeeper, we want 1 meter cloth, or we want half meter cloth, or we want 10 meters of cloth. Then again the shopkeeper measures and give them the cloth so that they can get a particular outfit of that will be suitable for them, right? So again measurement that is why it is important for finding the length, size, quantity of a substance. Now measurement requires a physical quantity and a fixed quantity. That is, a physical quantity has to be measured. Now what is a physical quantity? Physical quantity and fixed quantity. Physical quantity and fixed quantity. So what is physical quantity? Physical quantity is the unknown. You can say physical quantity is unknown and fixed quantity is known. Also with the word fixed we can understand that it is known and physical quantity is unknown. So in a physical quantity has to be measured with respect to a fixed quantity. Yes, a physical quantity can only be measured with respect to a fixed quantity. Now how to understand this statement with the help of, we'll understand this statement with the help of an example. Now physical quantity is the unknown quantity which is measured with respect to the fixed quantity, which is the known quantity. Now in the previous example you might have seen that we measured a table, the length of the table was measured using hand span, right? We used our hand span, that is the distance between the tip of your thumb to the tip of your small finger. This hand span was used to measure the length of the table. So here, what is the table? There are two quantities here. One is the table and it is being measured with your hand, that is hand span. So the table is your physical quantity. What is your physical quantity? What is the physical quantity that has to be measured? And I told you that you have to measure the length of the table. So the physical quantity is the table that has to be measured. Now fixed quantity. What is the fixed quantity in this example? In this example, the fixed quantity is our hand span, with which we have measured this table. That is, it was coming 2 hand span for me, right? So fixed quantity is the hand span and physical quantity is the table. Suppose you went to the shop to buy suppose 1 kg of potatoes, right? You went to the vegetable vendor. So here you need to measure potatoes and in terms of kg. So potatoes, their weight will be the unknown quantity that you have to measure, and fixed quantity will be kg. You will measure the potatoes in kg, right? So physical quantity is unknown and fixed quantity is known. Here table is the unknown, length of the table is the unknown physical quantity, and your hand span is the fixed quantity with which you have measured the table. Now a fixed quantity, now we will understand what is a fixed quantity. Now a fixed quantity with respect to which? With respect to which a physical quantity is measured is called unit. What do we call it? Unit. That is, a fixed quantity with respect to which a given physical quantity is measured is known as unit. Now you might have known that there are many units, right? Kg, gram, meter, centimeter, millimeter, kilometer, hectometer, decameter, these are all units, right? Without unit, measurement cannot be done, right? Suppose if I say measurement needs two parameters, right? One is the numeric value, and second is your unit. Okay, so numeric value and unit together make up a measurement. Now numeric value can be anything, right? 2, 3, 4. Now suppose if I say you, in this bag there are only 2. Now you will ask me, ma'am, what 2? So if I will not specify the unit, then how you will come to know what I am talking about? What is there inside the bag? What is its, whether it is something that is calculated based on its weight or size or length or what? So if I say that in this bag there are 2 stones. So now you know that inside the bag there are 2 stones that are kept. And if I say there is 2 kg of potatoes. So now you know that the weight that is used is kg. So units are very important in physics. You need to write the units everywhere. Only with numbers we cannot know that what this number is indicating. Without unit, a number does not hold any value. We need to give the number a value by specifying its unit. Now, next we will understand non-standard units of measurements. Non-standard unit of measurement. Non-standard unit of measurement. Now, there are many non-standard units of measurement. That is, sometimes we use our foot to calculate the distance of this classroom. Suppose you use your hand to calculate the distance, or hand span to calculate the distance of this full blackboard, right? You can use your hand span to calculate the distance of this full blackboard. You may use stones. Some may use their forearm like this to measure the length of this entire blackboard. So we will understand the terms. That is, first is hand span. So hand span is, as I have already mentioned, it is the distance between the tip of your thumb to the tip of your small finger when your full hand is stretched or outstretched. So this whole distance between these two fingers or the tip of these two fingers is called handspan. Clear? Now next is cubit. So cubit is the distance of this forearm, or we can say cubit is the distance starting from this elbow to the tip of your middle finger. Yes, the distance of this from this elbow to the tip of your middle finger. This distance is called cubit. It was also used as a non-standard unit of measurement. These were all used by early human beings because they were, that time standard units of measurement were not discovered. So it is the distance between the elbow to the tip of your middle finger. Okay, this is cubit. Next is fathom. Now what is fathom? Fathom is both your arms should be stretched. When both your arms are outstretched wide open, then the distance between both the tip of this middle finger to the tip of this next middle finger, this entire distance is called fathom. Yes, I will show you once. This distance from the tip of your, when your arms, both arms are outstretched, then the distance from the tip of your middle finger of this hand till the tip of the middle finger of the next hand, this entire distance when the whole arm is outstretched is called fathom. Sometimes we say no, this much, right? Okay. Then next we'll see, also we used foot, right? Foot was used, and now in modern day we call it, we use feet, right? So foot was used to measure any particular distance, that is your legs. When you walk with your legs, then you keep them very close to each other, one another. That distance of the foot was again a non-standard unit of measurement. But all these units of measurement were not accurate. They did not give same readings, like my hand can be little small, yours can be little big, or comparatively a person's hand can be much more big, right? So the hand span is not an accurate measurement for measuring any physical quantity. Neither cubit, fathom or foot is is a standard unit of measurement. So soon the early human beings realized that these non-standard units of measurement were not accurate to measure any particular physical quantity. So soon what happened now, as we started with trade, earlier times when we started with trade, like trading was started, suppose trading is started between Egypt and India. Now in Egypt they use cubit, and in India suppose we use handspan. So how they will transport the goods? Like in India we'll measure using handspan, and in Egypt they'll measure using cubit. So it was not standard, right? They could not handle trade relations nicely or properly, because there was no standard units to measure. The unit of measurement that was used in other countries and that was used in our country was entirely different. So it created a difficulty for the scientists to carry out their results, because their results were carried out based on inaccurate modes of measurement. So soon they started using standard unit of measurement. Now standard units of measurement are called the SI system. Now what is the SI system? SI system is the International Standard Unit System. That is a system that is universally accepted by all the scientists all over the world, and they use this system. For accurate measurements, and this system is widely used all over the world, and it is the same all over the world. And now we'll discuss this SI system. And now what happened with this with the advent of this SI system, the calculations that were made by the scientists all over the world were now uniform and was understood by the scientists of other countries as well. Now in SI system we have usually metric system. So it has 1 centimeter is equals to 100. So we'll start with kilometer, okay, because it is the biggest unit. 1 kilometer is equals to 1000 meter. Yes. It is the biggest unit. With kilometer, we can measure distances or lengths which cover a lot of, or if we travel from one place to another, if it involves a lot of distance, then it can be measured using kilometer. Then we have meter. So 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeter, which is smaller than kilometer. Then centimeter. 1 centimeter is equals to 10 meter, right? Sorry, 10 millimeter. Yes, so these are the metric systems that were used, or the SI system is usually the metric system. Now we'll see how this SI system was introduced by the scientists. Now you can see there are 3 physical quantities that we need to measure. Okay, so first physical quantity is length. Length is very important to measure. You need to measure the length of the door that will come in the entire room, or the length of from floor to ceiling, the distance that is required, or the length of this table, how much length the table I need, length of blackboard, how much should be the length of the blackboard, or so that 2 blackboards fits properly in this wall. So length is very much important. We need to know the length of almost everything so that we get to have accurate measurements. Now length is a physical quantity which needs to be measured. Next is mass. So what do we mean by mass? Mass is usually weight. So you need to measure weight, right? If we go to the vegetable vendor and we need tomatoes, potatoes or vegetables, then we need to give them the proper weight, that we need half kg or gram or 250 gram, then only he can give us the vegetables, and that will tell us how much amount we have to pay to the vegetable vendor. So yes, mass is also important. Then also you need to calculate your weight so that you don't grow overweight. So for that also you need mass, right? Then next is time. Time is also a physical quantity that needs to be measured. Yes, at what time your school will start, at what time an examination will end or will start, are all the things that are required and can be measured with the physical quantity time. So all these 3 physical quantities are something that are important and needs to be measured. So in earlier days, the first system that was introduced was CGS system. CGS system. It was introduced earlier. Now in CGS system, C is for length, G is for mass, S is for time. So with C, how you relate C with length? C can be related with length using centimeter, right? G with mass, mass means weight. So G can be related with mass with gram. And S with time. So S with time is seconds. So it was CGS. That is, CGS system was used for giving the units to length, mass and time. But soon they realized that the CGS system can only calculate the length of smaller objects, because centimeter can calculate only the length of smaller objects, right? Gram can calculate the weight of very small weights. Like if we want to calculate the weight of a big stone, then we cannot calculate it in grams. We need a bigger unit of measurement to calculate mass. Then time, yes, time can be calculated in seconds. So soon they made another system that is called the MKS system. Now in MKS system, length was related with M, mass was related with K and time was related with S. So M with length, how it will go? M means meter. So length was calculated in meter. K with mass, mass means weight. So K will be kg. And S with time will be seconds, because time could be measured easily in seconds. Only we found difficulty with mass and length, because mass of heavier objects cannot be calculated with gram. It needs to be calculated with kg. So MKS system was introduced, that is M for length, that is meter, K for mass, that is kg, and S for time, that is seconds. Now earlier to these two systems, there was much older days, there was a system that was called FPS. FPS system was used. Now again in FPS system, F is related to length, P is related to mass, and S is related to time. Now F with length, how will you relate F with length? It will be foot. P with mass, it will be pounds. Even now by many Englishmen, pounds are used, right? This much quantity, or this, for quantity they relate it with pounds. That is, the weight of this body is this much pounds. Then time was again seconds. Okay, so this was FPS system was used in much older days, and CJ system was, after that CJ system was introduced, where C stands for centimeter, G for gram, and S for time, that is seconds. And then finally MKS system was introduced, and now we'll have SI system. Now in SI system they use that this same MKS system is our SI system that we use, that is the international system of measurement that is followed all over the world. So in SI system, length is measured in meter, that is the SI unit of length is meter. Then mass, the SI unit of mass will be what? In MKS, same MKS will be copied in SI. So in SI system, or SI unit of mass is kg. So SI unit of mass will be kg, and time is second. It is second everywhere, because time can easily be measured using seconds. So SI unit of time will be is seconds. You can take a screenshot of this particular table and learn this table. It is very easy to learn. The first system that was introduced way back is FPS system. F for, we'll relate it with length, F stands for foot, P for mass, it will be pounds, and S for time will be seconds. Then CGS system, where C stands for, goes with length, that is centimeter, G with mass, that is gram, and S with time, that is seconds. Then we have, and then soon we realize that CGS system cannot be used to calculate heavier objects for weight, that is gram. We need more weight. If we have more weight, then we cannot calculate it with gram. Same, centimeter cannot be used to calculate the length of distance, that is to calculate the length of distance. Then soon they introduce the MKS system, that is M stands for length, that is meter, K stands for mass, that is kg, and S stands for time, that is seconds. Clear? And again an SI system was introduced, that is the standard system, standard unit of system. And in standard unit of system, the SI unit of length is meter, SI unit of mass is kg, and SI unit of time is seconds. So I hope it is clear. I am giving you 3 seconds. You can take a snap of this table and learn this table, okay?